So getting your care provider to tell on themselves so you don't hire the wrong one. Not only do you enroll them in your birth vision, you also decline something that's typical in the practice and in our birth culture, such as an unnecessary test that you don't want to do. And you don't give any reason or explanation other than that you've decided that it's not for you, and you watch their reaction. So I deliberately went into my midwife practices and I deliberately said, I'm not doing a single blood test. I'm not doing any tests at the beginning. Here's what my blood type is because I already know it. I already know I'm not Rh negative. So I see no reason why I need to do this blood test. I didn't have any iron deficiencies in my last pregnancy. As for the gestational diabetes thing, I never did that the first time, and I have no intention of doing it the second time. And then I watched the reaction to see, are they going to say, oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, we don't need to do that. I mean, if something comes up, like I'd be like, oh yeah, I have a plan around that too. I mean, if something comes up, I'll let you know, but otherwise, yeah, I'm not doing that. Versus, but everybody does that test. And if you don't do that test, then something bad's going to happen. You're definitely going to have gestational diabetes, and then you're going to have an induction, and then you're going to have a C-section. It's all going to be your fault just because you couldn't do this test, just because you didn't want to do this test. Like, really, are you going to be that selfish and not think of your baby? I mean, how many times do you see that in the mom groups? If you say, hey, I want to not have this test. Has anybody not had this test? And then there's the little swarm, the hornet's nest of moms that come in and say, how could you possibly do this? And then maybe there's a labor and delivery nurse who's like, I just don't think that that's a good idea. Blah, 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 blah. This is why we want you to do this test. This is why I'm going to convince you to do it. Because remember what I said before is that everybody is super nice and super accommodating and super all on board for your plan as long as you are doing what they want. But if you deliberately displease or poke a hole in one of their things and do that logic thing of like, well, you think that, but why do you think that? And question their authority. Care providers who are narcissistic hate questioning authority. If you question their authority, that is seen as disrespect. And they are in that profession to command respect. Narcissistic people have no empathy and they want the prestige and the glory, and they expect you to worship them. And those kinds of people are attracted to professions where you are seen as a god. And what is the medical system built of? Doctors who often are seen as gods and as like people in power and authority with super powerful skills and training, and they're just super smart. They might not be the most empathic individuals. And the fact is that most of them are not. There are people who are in there, they are empathic, they want to make a difference, they want to help. But because of that, they're giving and giving and they're burning out. The ones that are able to stay without burning out, they start suppressing their actual heart to be able to stay in it, and they're constantly stressed, or they're not stressed at all because they're like, I'm in power. So you need to recognize that. Displease them on purpose. Don't do it mean, but definitely displease them.